Hello and welcome back to my video blog. We've had an interesting week here this week. We've been discussing Belarus, and 3 of our political groups came together to host a conference on this European country which is still run as a dictatorship. We heard from Alexander Milinkovic, the leader of the opposition in Belarus, from journalists who are Sakharov Prize winners and other politicians and civil society leaders about how ghastly things still are in a country with virtually no freedom. Do you know Belarus is the only European country which still executes people in peacetime for crimes they've committed? And the difficulty with democracy in Belarus is knowing how we can put pressure on the regime to make sure that they change their ways. Under the Czech presidency of the Union and under the Swedish presidency that will take over in July, we're putting a lot of effort into our Eastern Neighbourhood Partnership and a lot of effort into changing the way Belarus is governed. It's called Regime Change Europe's Way, speaking softly and carrying a big carrot. We want to keep Belarus out of the influence of Russia. Russia is a country which, despite having joined the Council of Europe and signed up to the European Convention on Human Rights, is regularly and blatantly defying its provisions. Here on Wednesday of this week, we had a debate with Commissioner Ferrero-Waldner about the European Union's new partnership with Moscow. And I spoke on behalf of my group, but I think on behalf of many across the House, of the need to talk and trade with Russia, but not of the need to be silent when it comes to the abuse, the intimidation, the jailing of opponents, which is still practiced as part of Russia's politics. You know, Russia, despite joining the Council of Europe and signing the European Convention on Human Rights, is regularly defying that convention, and Russia's people are suffering. Europe is stronger than Russia, providing we stand foursquare behind the European Union flag, providing we don't allow the Russians to practice divide and rule when they're dealing with European countries. And if I were president of this House, I would make human rights a main focus of my work. Because if the European Parliament, if Europe's elected representatives will not stand up for Europe's values, then who will? Not the member states who are worried about commercial contracts, not the officials who are worried about offending their political masters. It has to be the European Parliament that's at the forefront of our human rights and values agenda.